557 Southwest A Street, 557 Southwest A Street. You want to know in front of the Boost Mobile store if you're going to let anyone in or out. No shirt, dark shorts, red shoes. French. That's on 1137. 7350. Because I'll show the units delayed, we're going to 12 intro. Yes, sir. Thank you now. Thank you now.
Hey Jared, how you doing, man? Sorry, just doing some more testing here. Nothing going on. It's just that I have an open ticket with Streamlabs to fix this issue with not being able to multicast to different platforms. So I'm just testing that with them now. If you hear me drop the audio out, it's because I'm on a phone call. No, I actually didn't. I did a post on YouTube, kind of just letting everybody know that I wasn't going live last night. I'm kind of conflicted, man, because I think that if I commit to a schedule, like if I say I'm gonna go out every night at 9 p.m., I think that what ends up happening is that I'm gonna upset a lot of people if I don't go out at 9 p.m. every night. And then if I commit to once a week, I might miss any events that happen throughout the week. So I think that the best way to do it is to go out, like at random intervals, like if I'm gonna be out anyway and cruising around and whatever, then I'll go live. And otherwise, I'll do it if something happens, if something pops off somewhere or whatever, I'll just jump in the car and head over there and go live. I'm just trying to figure out what the best approach. I don't want to commit to a particular schedule because I'm not 100% positive I can commit, and I don't want to, I don't know. I don't know how YouTube works. I mean, I don't know what audiences expect, when it comes to stuff like that. But I would imagine that, if somebody's expecting, a nightly broadcast at 9 p.m., that, that they're going to be upset if it's not there every night at 9 p.m., So, what do you think? What do you think I should do? Yeah, I think that that's the most logical, way to do it. Is to do one night a week, and then there's the newness of it too. Like right now, because this is all new, and I've got this gimbal and the camera and the data plan, and I'm ready to go and raring to go. I want to be out there every night, but I know I can't commit to that, man. I know that that'll be fleeting. But yeah, I think that the best way to do it is just to, from the get-go, just schedule one night a week, and then go out there as you suggest, and be ready to go out to respond to anything that that goes down whenever it happens. I think that that's the best approach. Now the question is, what night per week? Tuesday night, Friday night, I think Mondays are just slow. I think people are just exhausted from the weekend. They're pretty much home and not getting into any kind of trouble. But then who knows, I mean. And then Friday and Saturday are probably the busiest nights. But, those are the nights that you want to kind of unwind and, spend some time at home with the family. And, you know what I mean? I don't know. The shooting the world? What? Somebody... The woman doing it to herself at 3 o'clock in the morning last night? No, can't say I did. I don't even know what you're talking about. Where at? Well, I mean, yeah, but I assumed it was Miami, but where at specifically? I mean, what was the call on what channel? I'm gonna go check Telegram. Hold on. 3 o'clock in the morning. 1 a.m. Responding with lights and sirens to 201 Southeast 2nd Ave. Apartment 2009 for reported shooting. Complainant advised that she shot herself. No further disturbance reported. Let's listen to that.
Usually it's 4434, 344, 4436 to 15. 201 Southeast 2 Avenue. 201 Southeast 2 Ave, apartment 2009, apartment 2009. The original route, the complainant was that she shot herself. No further 4434.
Yourself, Boulevard.
4436. So unit QH 344, 201 Southeast 2 Avenue, apartment 2009. We have the boyfriend who's supposed to be on the scene as well, speaking to rescue. And then she supposedly shot herself in the neck. Units maintain.
Holy crap.
4430 or 4530.
4130. I'm with 4434. We will be arriving soon.
Was it an accident?
15 or 315 units maintain. Four three four.
4434. Can you run the apartment number?
Apartment 2009, 2009.
Hey Jared, you work for the city? Are you a cop?
4436.
We're making our way up now. Send an additional unit so they can hold the elevator open and guide rescue up as well.
Yes, sir. 4331 and 34, make it a 15, 201 Southeast. 4331. 4331. 4332.
Oh, here is
4334.
You're out.
Yes, sir. And show 34, 443436 and 4130 arrival at 317 units maintained. Four and 230 arrival. 3. 4130, 15 arrival, 318.
4235 arrival.
15 arrival, 318.
4522 arrival.
318.
It looks like it's a gunshot right under the chin. That's where I can see it. I believe it looks like an entry.
Are you talking about the live feeds with the scanner audio, or this particular live feed that we're on right now?
Just go ahead and arrive for
As
now.
far as the delay is concerned, the audios,
She's conscious. She's talking to us. Looks like it's right
the
under
audios show the real world time
Excuse me.
in the time code, but they're going to be delayed about 30 to 40 seconds
4530, negative.
because of, you know, the processing that has to happen kind of in between. This particular live feed is going to be delayed by about 15 seconds, more or less. But I'm not exactly sure. There's some latency that's introduced by Streamlabs. And then there's obviously the latency that's introduced by YouTube itself in order to be able to process the video fast enough
320.
to get it out there live. I can switch between normal, low, and ultra low latency, but with ultra low latency you get a lot of choppiness, particularly on devices that don't have the viewer's device that doesn't have a fast enough connection will give a lot of choppiness. So I choose low latency, which is about 5 seconds more or less, and then Streamlabs itself introduces about another 10 to 15. So figure about 15 to 20 seconds on this live feed, and about 30 to 40 on the scanner audio.
4130.
4130.
So I think we have enough units arriving. We can slow them down. My rescue needs to arrive. We do have somebody shot. Somebody that's on the first floor, if they can make contact with the security and get more info on apartment 207, because we have some, like, the bullet hole is going towards this apartment.
2007, here's one. I need about a 3 go to make a routine. There's enough units for 4130. Clear your foot. Make contact with the unit. Anyone downstairs that can make contact with security.
Yeah, so the scanner audio, you know, technically I should probably make the delay a little longer, but what I did was I isolated the core. I isolated the individual cores for processing the audio on the Linux box that I'm running. So what ends up happening is, if you're running all of this stuff, so imagine you have 4 instances of OBS that are broadcasting each particular channel. Then you have OP25, which is essentially transcoding the audio, or not transcoding the audio, but you know, essentially getting the audio from, you know, from the antennas, right, and then turning that into audio, right? So getting the signal from the antennas and turning that into audio, there's some processing that happens there. That's where the audio originates. Then it gets sent through FFmpeg in real time, right? So that it can hold on a second. So that it can essentially, you know, scrub the audio, you know, equalize it, add some dynamic, you know, volume to it. So it reduces, you know, it gates the volume if it's too loud, and it brings it up if it's too low, so that you get a steady, you know, steady audio coming out of it. As it's doing that, every time that there's silence in between the audio, there's a wave file that's generated that's sent to Whisper from OpenAI, which is loaded locally on the same box, and then Whisper basically transcribes the audio and creates a transcription file that's sent to the on-screen transcription as well as to the closed captions for YouTube. All of that happens with essentially a 15-second time delay. But the reason why the audio is as clear as it is because radio transmissions are not they're notorious for being horrible, but the reason why it's as clear as it is, and the reason why I can do it so quickly, is because I've actually modified the processor. I've used the OS to modify the cores in the processor, and there's one core assigned to each one of the OP25 instances. So there's no latency there at all, and then none of the whisper transcribing or any of the saving of the wave files or any of the I/O ops that happen outside of OP25. None of that stuff is touching any one of the cores that OP25 is using, and that's really the only reason why I can do it without using without having to be forced to use a 2-minute time delay. It's difficult to do, but not impossible. Hey, Miami PD for FL. I'm doing good. How you doing, man? I see you saw my message yesterday about not going out last night. So yeah, anyway, the system is basically made up of a lot of software that I wrote. There's 4 or 5 major aspects of automations that are running on the system. So you have OP25, which is basically what collects the audio from the antennas. There's 4 separate antennas. All of that is sent through OP25 to decode it essentially and turn it into audio. I'm on catch every other word. Is the audio skipping? Is that what you guys are telling me? Well, anyway, I'll keep talking. You guys let me know if the signal's bad. So essentially, OP25 does all the decoding of the City of Miami Police P25, the Motorola system. Essentially, it's a trunk system. There's one dedicated antenna for each district, and then all of that sent through OP25, each one in its own instance, and then that audio's there's some stuff done to that audio using FFmpeg in real time. It beautifies the audio, basically, equalizes it and whatever. There's a separate leg of that audio that's sent through FD Tone Notify, which is basically what listens for the beep tones, and whenever a beep tone is detected, that beep tone, there's an action that's performed. There's several actions that are performed, actually. One, the essential function is that we take the last I think it's 5 or 6 lines of spoken audio and then feed that to AI in order to get a summary of what's happening, and then that summary is sent back from AI. We use API to do that. That summary is sent back from AI and it's compiled into a message that at the end of it has a link with, we're doing some math on, we go out to YouTube, figure out where the beep tone happened. We do some math to create a link, directly to where the beep tone happened with about, we get about 5 seconds before the beep tone happened. 5 to 10 seconds before it happened. And then all of that's compiled into a message and it's pushed out simultaneously to, well, it's pushed out to Telegram 100% of the time, and then based on the rating of that particular summary. So if the summary is, 7.5 or greater on a scale of 1 to 10, it then gets pushed out to Twitter. It gets pushed out to Twitter as well. And then there's another sub process that happens where if the rating is greater than 7.5, we clip 3 minutes from the beep tone forward, and then use FFmpeg again to create a vertical short 30-second clip. We clip 3 minutes, turn it into a vertical, get the first 30 seconds, and then push that out to Instagram and to YouTube as a vertical short. That's essentially the nuts and bolts of what happens there. There's a lot more that happens in the background, but suffice to say that there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on there. It's taken me years to put that system together. I did just let it run for several years, or a couple years at least, and then kind of over the course of the last 3 months or so, I've made all of those automation changes. Obviously, all of this is possible because of OpenAI's Whisper. So the only way that you can do these automations, think about it. The rating, like, how do you rate something that you don't know what it is? So the first thing you have to do is generate a transcript of what's happening. Once you have a viable transcript, even if it's I ran them 24/7 without stopping. But the issue with that, yeah, exactly, CJ. We need to understand what's happening in the feed in order to do anything with it. You need to understand, the system needs to understand the spoken word in order to do anything with it. So for years it was impossible to do that because there wasn't a model out there that would actually, there was several models that could do speech to text, but nothing that you'd be able to train in this particular domain. So once I had the ability to do that, I started taking the audio and recording it, and then just sitting there listening to it and transcribing it manually. And I started training the OpenAI Whisper model for the City of Miami Police domain, using P25, with all of its nuance, and then once I got that pretty good, about, I'd say it's about 90% accurate, then I was able to, the world's your oyster at that point, you know what I mean? Once you have the actual spoken word, you can, and with the advent of AI, and some really crafty system prompt and prompt engineering, a lot of Python coding and connection to all of these APIs, then like I said, the world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want at that point, which is the reason why this is all possible now. And as it sits right now, it's really just kind of the infancy of what I'm thinking. I've got a million things, bouncing around in my head, that that I want to do. It's just finding the time to sit there and do it. It takes a lot of time, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I can't make a living from this, so I have to kind of divert my attention from doing this and going back to my day job. Yeah, ChatGPT can code, absolutely. There's no question about that. I use AI for coding all the time. You know, I have been for a couple years now. You know. As far as penetration testing goes, there's no exposure. The system it runs basically in a silo, so there's no external exposure. There's no possible There's no possible exterior communication to the system that's running this, outside of what you get from the scanner audio. That's the only external stuff that we're getting, you know, that the system is exposed to. There's nothing else. There's nothing else that requires external access to it. So it's secure in that regard. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. I know. Thought there was a car coming. Yeah, and as far as running the feeds 24/7 without pausing, let me explain why I changed that. I did that at the very beginning. You ever seen a flipper? Yeah, I've seen the flippers. Yeah, as far as the feeds, and by the way, if you've been watching since the feeds were 24/7, you really got the very, very beginning of this. I mean, I'm talking, you've been watching since the day I launched the channel, essentially. Probably, I think it was September of 2021. But yeah, let me explain the reason why I stopped them and restart them 3 times a day. So essentially, here's what happens. When you live feed or live broadcast, I got a guy in the Philippines that'll do whatever you need immediately. He's worked for me for over a decade. I'm an InfoSec guy, not a bad guy. Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've got. I mean, that's essentially what I do for a living. I mean, for going on 30 years now, I guess. But yeah, so as far as the live feeds go, and the reason why they're stopped, you know, every 8 hours or so, is because YouTube will only store the last 12 hours of your live feed. So you know how we send out notifications for a particular event, right? So these beep tones send out notifications, you know, on Telegram, and when you click on that link, you can go back to exactly where the notification happened. But that only works if you actually stop the feed and turn it into a video on demand, essentially. Because what happens is, after 12 hours of continuous feeds, the 12th hour and 1 second, the beginning of the video, starts getting cut off. So if you just feed it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without stopping it, you only get the last 12 hours. You know, you can only use the last 12 hours of it. Not only that, you can't really make a calculation as to when the video start was, which is how we create the links on the fly, automatically. So the only solution there, and you know, and essentially to keep the videos online, you know, video on demand. City Miami Fire Rescue. So the only way to keep the videos online, so that you can go back to them at any point in the future, is to actually stop them before they reach the 12-hour mark, right? And then once you stop them, essentially what happens is that the entire content of the video gets stored on YouTube as an accessible video on demand for forever. And that's that way back at the beginning. I noticed that at the very beginning, and I was like, okay, well, if these links are going to work, if I'm going to be able to click on this link tomorrow, you know, or a week from now, and go back to where it happened in the video, I'm going to need to stop these videos, you know, at least once every 12 hours. And then what I decided to do was just kind of pseudo follow the shifts, you know, which are about every 8 hours, or as Jared pointed out, every 10 hours, I believe. I think it was Jared that gave me the actual shift times. I think it's 6 a.m. to 4, and well, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, the feeds start at 8 a.m., 4 p.m., and 12 a.m. every day, and that's the reason why. And then in addition to that, there's some added benefit there. There's like a little silver lining there, which is since OP25 is what's ultimately doing the transmitting to YouTube. When you stop it, right? When you stop the live stream after 8 hours, it kind of clears caches and, you know, removes any memory usage that's been building up and any leaking that's happening, and it kind of restores it back to, okay, we're going to start a new stream now, so just dump all the rest of that stuff that I've been holding on to for the last 8 hours, and it helps the system run a little bit better, as opposed to just letting it run 24/7. So that's the way it is. That's the way it's going to stay, and that's what makes it possible to go back, you know, 6 a.m. to 4 to midnight. Wait, hold on. And 12 to 8. Yeah, thanks for that, Jared. But yeah, the feeds start at 8, 4, and 12, essentially. Start and end, and they end 5 minutes before. So it ends at 7:55, at 3:55, and at, you know, 11:55. Just to kind of get that VOD content. The primary reason is so that a week from now, you go back and you click on one of those links anywhere you find it, whether it's on Twitter or on Telegram, and it'll go right back to where it is. And I mean, how you can go to Telegram and check a link from a year ago, and it'll go right there. You know, like the alien video. People go the one from Bayside. You know, a couple years back. You know, that link is still accessible. The video is still online. The audio is still there, and the link takes you right to the point in the video where that call out happened. You know. So that's the reason. That's the reason why I, not that you asked the reason, and I'm sorry to go on the rant, but yes, Jared, if you've been watching since the feeds were 24/7, you've been a subscriber since almost since day one. I'd say within 30 days of launching the channel. How's the video been so far? We've been on for 38 minutes. How's the is there any choppiness? The audio, is it clear? I mean, I suspect that there's going to be some parts that I drive around that are going to be dead spots, but so far this T-Mobile 5G is actually quite spectacular. I'm really impressed with the coverage that T-Mobile has for data. It's pretty amazing. So changing gears a little bit, there is a way, which I haven't figured out yet, but I will. It's kind of on my list of things to do. There's a way for me to invite guests to these live streams. I'm not sure. So like I said, I'm talking to Streamlabs right now about some technical issues that I'm facing. I'm hoping to have those sorted out in the next week or so. But in kind of my research and digging into how all of this stuff works, I've found that there's a way to invite guests to live stream with you. So technically speaking, CJ, for example, if you wanted to join me on one of these one of these broadcasts, or if Jared, if you wanted to do the same thing, I could literally send you like an invite. I believe it's an invite, or maybe it's just selecting the user ID or something like that. I haven't really gotten into the details, but and you could kind of like dual screen, the invite. Is that something that you guys would be interested in doing? StreamYard. Yeah, there's another one. I haven't looked at StreamYard. Streamlabs is kind of like as far as I know, and what I've read, and the little I've kind of dug up about, what people use. Streamlabs is kind of like the go-to for most streamers on the go. But in reality, from a stability perspective, I think that the best thing to do is to just use your own RTMP server and then turn that around to the multiple platforms that you need to turn it around to. But man, I gotta be honest with you, dude, I really don't feel like writing all that out right now. Yeah, so as soon as I figure that out, as soon as I figure out how to do the whole multi-user, collaboration thing, I'll put you guys. Let's see. The upside to StreamYard is a web-based cloud server, so it'll never go down. Yeah. So Streamlabs has the same thing. So when you do, right now, if I was to stop, if I was to lose a connection right now with Streamlabs, basically it would. You would get a black screen. Right now, you could change the splash screen, but you would get a black screen that basically says, that basically says "be right back." You could change it to like a channel logo or something like that. Like any other, we're currently, any other broadcaster that's currently experiencing technical difficulties. That splash screen that you get. So Streamlabs does that. And yeah, so Streamlabs is basically a relay. When you join their Ultra whatever, I think it's like $27 a month if you pay for it monthly, or 40% off of that, $15 a month or whatever it is, if you pay for it annually. But yeah, so it'll keep the stream active, and basically put a like a splash screen on there. And then there's other cool stuff you could do too, because of the nature of sending it through a cloud-based server. You could do like closing credits. You could do like an opening, bump. You can insert ads. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out. I had like 5 accounts backing anyway. Yeah, like CJ was trying. StreamYard stream is much easier to use. All you would have to do is post the link in chat, and people could come up backstage where only you could see them. Oh, cool. So Yard Stream. Or is it Yard Stream or StreamYard? StreamYard. Do is post a link in a chat, and people could come in backstage where only you could see them. Huh, that's interesting. I'm definitely going to take a look at that. At the end of the day, if it doesn't... Yeah, StreamYard, got it. At the end of the day, if it doesn't work, if none of this stuff works the way that I want it to, and, it can get pricey. I don't think that $150 a year or $160 a year is crazy expensive for Streamlabs. But if it kind of gets out of hand and it doesn't do what I want it to do, and it doesn't work the way I want it to work, I'll just spin up a server in the cloud and do it myself, you know. So StreamYard, and honestly, you could have other channels going in there as well if you had scanners. All you need is the devices to point out the scanners. So with StreamYard, you're saying that I can bring in that it's cloud-based and that I can bring in multiple sources from different areas, and I could do this while mobile. You're sure? Is there like a control? Is there like a control interface or something along those lines? Or do you need somebody back at home base running all the doing all the directing and producing? Because the whole idea here is for me to just, you know, I want to get this as close to like one button streaming as possible. I mean, I know that that's kind of a tall order. But the idea here is grab this gimbal and hit go, and you know, I'm on all the platforms, and you know, everything is shared. And but yeah, I'll definitely look into StreamYard if you guys are saying that that's the way to do it. 7 devices on the free version at one. Really? Oh, dude, I'm gonna look at that today, actually. StreamYard. And it's made for mobile, or is it more made for like studio? Huh. Multi-stream, recording, guests, webinars, video repurposing, branding. I mean, look, I'm. You can do this. So let's say you had a fire rescue channel logged. All you would need is another phone or iPad pointed at the scanner. Bring that device up, and you're good. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds just from the way you're describing it. It sounds to me like a standard, studio setup, which is cool. I mean, I could certainly do that, and if I remote in with like an iPad or something like that, I can probably do all of the video switching that I need to do. Before you just described, I heard the Streamlabs. Yeah, OBS. I mean, OBS. Everybody's heard of OBS. OBS is kind of like the open source, you know, studio broadcaster. It's like a switcher panel, but again, there's a huge difference. You know, OBS runs locally on your computer and kind of handles all of the stuff there. It's very robust and open source, and you could do essentially whatever you want with it. I mean, you could write, you know, plug in Luas, and you could, you could make it do whatever you want with software. You know, you write a couple of Python scripts to do whatever you want. Yeah, that's what it is. ChatGPT, the difference between the two. Yeah, I'll check it out. It's definitely it sounds to me, just looking at it on the surface, it sounds to me like it's a studio based, you know, like it's meant for a studio. So that's good. And ultimately, if I have to lean on something like that, I definitely will. But that's going to require someone back at the studio while I'm on the road. And that's not quite what I want. I know, like I said, what I want is a tall order. But you know, that's what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for one button or as close to one button from the road studio management as I can get. I understand that there's limitations there. Yeah, no, I get it. I get that you can do the web version from mobile. I understand. You know. I really want to be a cop. I hope maybe will be one day. I respect you guys. Well, I don't know if there's any cops here. I'm certainly not a cop. But yeah, I respect them also. I think they're amazing. I hate getting tickets, but you know. How you doing, Mehmet? Everything good? Yep. Maybe I should pay attention to the green light. So where are you tuning in from, Emmett? Where are you tuning in from today? You in Miami? Nope. No, sir. From Turkey. Wow. Yeah, I was wondering. You must be the one person that watches from Turkey. I was looking at the analytics the other day, and I noticed that there was some viewership from Turkey. You watch often, I think, right? You've been watching for a long time, or you've been listening to the scanner feeds for a long time. Funny, the analytics from YouTube show that, let's see, there we go, geography. La esquina de Pan Comité. I'm on Flagler and Lejeune. Are you talking about Mary's Coin Laundry? Mary's Coin Laundry's on 20. Well, you know it's on 27. I know you know it's on 27. You know where everything is in Miami. So we have viewers from mainly from the U.S. and among those mainly from Miami. But we've got viewers in Canada, the U.K., India, Germany, Australia, Italy, the Netherlands, Sweden, Turkey. CJ, you know Mary's. You have to know Mary's. Mary's, and if you don't know Mary's, you have to go find out. Mary's is absolutely the best place to get un pan con bistec at 2 o'clock in the morning. Notice I didn't say the best pan con bistec in Miami, but the best pan con bistec at 2 o'clock in the morning is at Mary's for sure. What guy's from Miami? Mehmet? He's running a VPN. He's bouncing his account off a VPN in Turkey. Is that what you're saying?
Ohio Street. It's going to be specialized fuel attack Papa, Alpha Kilo, India Papa. Here you have info.
Case 1235.
You're saying I'm a computer guy, CJ? Yep. That's all I've ever done, man. My entire life. Been at it for a long time. Starving, huh? Oh, we got an alert on channel 3. Police are responding to 591 Northwest 31st Street for a reported stabbing. Suspect is a white male armed with a knife. Emergency response in progress. Let's listen to that. Beep.
4213 A342 Foxtrot, 4215 315, 591 Northwest 34th Street, 591 Northwest 34. Regular person stabbed, subject armed with a knife, white male, at 1236, 4213. Miami, 4215.
No, that's 2123.
4210.
Q7.
Unit from Route 332, person stabbed, 591 Northwest 34th Street. Advised of a white male armed with a knife, wearing a yellow shirt, black shorts, or pants, still on the scene at 1237, 4210.
Yes, I'll have to use hold there until you get there. Advise.
Unit QH, 591 Northwest 34th Street, QH. Units en route reference to U332 Foxtrot. Be advised this is possible 55 and possibly within less the scene. 1237. We're still trying to gather information. Units evacuate.
Domestic. Are we going? I don't know. Should we go? We're so far away at this point that and by the time we get there, I'll make my way in that direction and listen to what they say. But it looks like the suspect is no longer on scene, and it's a domestic case. So probably, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend.
4212. Can you do a chronological 968 and give a response at fire?
Are you en route?
QSL.
1915 en route 1238. Units maintain.
Brothers, friends, people who know each other got into a fight. Met in the United States, everybody's a member of the press.
Units en route reference 591 Northwest 34th Street. They're not advising that the victim was a man who fled. However, the subject is still on the scene inside the QTH. Units maintain QA.
So the victim fled, but the subject is still in the at the location. That's what's going on.
Car 42 called in.
4213 arrival. It's an arrival at 9. This call was guys the Julio. Okay, so we still on landline Julio. Unknown. Unit with the emergency radio number 2191.
4255.
KFK, what's your emergency?
The male is wearing a red sweater, yellow shorts. He's running northbound 5 and 34.
Red sweater, yellow shirts, running northbound 5 and 34.
Running northbound on 5 Avenue from 34th Street at 1240. Any device he's wearing a red shirt, yellow short.
4212, I'm right down for 15.
Unit device you can.
Oh, he stabbed someone. CJ. There you go. One person detained at the scene. Rescues en route. Additional units responding. Been advised to slow down and proceed routine.
4212, show 1 detained right now.
Rescue for 1 detaining. Your which QTH witness possible?
5 and 35.
5 and 35, 1 detained at 1241. Carry you to slow the unit.
QSL, show me going back to the incident QTH.
No, the subject was the one running.
Any other unit en route 591 Northwest 34th Street, proceed routine. As any other unit. 4212, proceed routine. 1 detained at 1241.
4212, verifying we have rescue en route.
Rescues en route.
4210. Who's detained? The victim or the offender?
There we go.
4212, can you advise?
Offender. I'm
Yep.
going to be making contact now with the victim.
So you made contact with the victim?
Just gonna make contact with the victim.
In the process, ma'am. When we arrived, we had witnesses stating that the offender was fleeing the scene.
So rescue is for
victim.
Yeah.
Okay, so the victim is on the scene at 1242. Rescue unit standby 1 reference. The victim verified. Do we have a victim staff? For any unit that can advise victims, do we have 1 staff or any of that?
The only place I'm feeding the scanner audio to is to YouTube. I don't feed Broadcastify or any of the scanner apps. Most of those scanner apps get their feeds from Broadcastify.
Rescue for now. Apparently they come off of 11.
Yeah, so the victim, just to kind of recap here, the victim was stabbed. The victim fled the scene. The subject was still on scene. When police arrived, the subject ran, and the police caught up to the subject and detained him. And the victim, as far as I know, hasn't been located yet. But fire rescue is either en route or on scene already.
5723.
And yeah, no is correct. Yeah.
National Clear 1243. The afternoon.
5723.
5723.
Good afternoon, 09-436-7446. Location is going to be 3169 Northwest 21st Avenue from now to 1800 hours.
1244. 4216, I mean 4213, can you have 4216 here, please? 4215.
I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the way that Streamlabs is handling this, the feed, and that T-Mobile data plan is spectacular. I mean, we haven't gone anywhere. We've been pretty much stayed in Flagami and Corwaynet, but you know, everything from US 1 all the way to, you know, 42nd Avenue and 836, or close to 836, has been pretty steady.
Plane has video footage available at 1245 4113. Okay. 4512.
12.
Hey, so as far as clarity is concerned, we've established that there's very little jumping around, and I mean, like choppiness, and the audio is not choppy. But what about the Mary's? Mary's is on 27th Avenue and like a few blocks. What is it, like 28th or something? It's a few blocks in from US 1. It's like kind of around where Shell Lumber is, I want to say. Yeah, Mary's Laundry. Yeah, exactly. There's a little Timbiriche inside of Mary's laundry called Mary's Cafe, and they make a really good pan con bistec there, bro. It's definitely un mata hambre at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll tell you that. Como que she's not there anymore? What are you talking about, bro? I can take you there right now. I mean, maybe Mary, the you know, pero Mary's Coin Laundry is definitely there, and Mary's Cafe is definitely there. You know, no question. Yeah. Like I said, bro, it's not. You know, it's not like, oh my God, bro, the best pan con bistec in all of Miami and, you know, whatever. But when you want un pan con bistec at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, brother. Uh-oh. Something's going on in Flagami.
and 15. I got 315 for now. 1069 West Flag in the rear. 7312 Bravo's not answering. 7311.
They have a unit not
Give
answering.
me routine. I'm inside of the store in the rear, but I'm curious. An origin.
Alright, so that's units are out. 7311 and 1507. The 34, just make it a 15 with 1069 West Flag with 7312 Bravo. 7311. 7311, please, sorry. Just a routine.
Nah, bro, I don't think we're talking about the same place.
8 and 7.
1248. Let me make sure.
I don't think we're talking about the same place. It's not a yellow building, it's white with blue letters. There's a coin laundry, and part of the coin laundry is like a little cafeteria. Not a cafeteria, it's like a little hole in the wall. They have una pastelera, you can get croquetas, and, you know, whatever, like the regular stuff. They'll make you un café if you want. But the one thing that they're known for is, you know, los pan con bistec that they make.
4219.
4219, right?
Mommy, you can share with the officer. I'm here with him. The peace setters.
Yes, that's so far.
You know who makes a really good pan con bistec? You guys, I'm gonna get torched for saying this. I know it. You guys are gonna, you know, whatever. I'll let you have your, I'll let you get your licks. But you know who makes a spectacular pan con bistec? Kush. Go ahead, laugh. Say what you want. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't even know if they're still open, but they're in Wynwood. It's the same people that have that local restaurant in the Grove. And Kush are basically they're the ones that reopened or are trying to reopen Stephen's Deli in Hialeah and, you know, whatever. But they have this place in Wynwood. I believe it's on Northwest 2nd and like La Veintipico. Kind of like when you're going south on Northwest 2nd and you have to make a left. It's around there. And it's called something by Kush, or it's called Kush, Kush. A while back, I mean, I haven't been there in a while, but they make un pan con bistec. That's, first of all, it's not traditional pan con bistec. They don't use bistec palomilla. They use like shaved ribeye to make un pan con bistec, which is why I'm saying I'm gonna get slammed here, because, you know, it's not the traditional Cuban pan con bistec, you know. Pero oye, let me tell you something, bro. That place, that pan con bistec is something else. Oh, and then there's Sandwich on Southwest 8th Street and like Southwest 8th Street and like 18, or between 18 and 19, más o menos. maybe 19 and 20, somewhere between 18 and 20, and a little strip mall there. It's where the taco stand is. Next to the taco stand, there's a place called Sandwich. Again, alternative, you know, semi-traditional, but definitely alternative. And they make some good sandwiches there. My favorite one there is a pan con croqueta. O perdón, la croqueta preparada. Miami Bakery. Where's that? You know, the issue with these places like Sandwich and Kush or whatever is that, you know, it's $20 for a... That's not $20, but you get what I'm saying. It's expensive, bro, for you know, for what you're getting. You know? Dude, I remember when you would be able, you know, you were able to buy un pan con bistec for $3, you know, $3.50, you know? You go to these places and it's $18 for un pan con bistec. But then again, you're not getting palomilla, you're getting, you know, prime ribeye, you know? Or at least, you know, even if it's ungraded ribeye. But yeah, there's something to be said about, you know, how good a sandwich is that costs $3, you know? Because for $3, you know, not that you can get a pan con bistec anywhere nowadays for $3.50, but you know what I mean. Yeah. No, and the places that used to be able to go, like these little timbirichis everywhere that used to be able to go and get breakfast, you know, for, which was basically tostada, cafe, you know, eggs and ham or eggs and bacon, you know, for $3, you know, $1.99 in some places, you know, it's crazy. Let me show you this. Let me show you this place. That's the place right there.
Around 19. Show me 30 and check that.
113 7, taking 13. We have 687 Canal Road, 375 Canal Road.
This place is on 8th. The sandwich place is on 8th and 20th. Well, between 21st and 20th on the north side.
phone.
Turkey Hotel, Southwest 12 coordination.
Here's my 12:15. Sorry, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Alright, we'll send the 2 units right away here. We're able to locate him in the comment on the computer. Go ahead and show 13-1.
All right, guys.
Yes, sir. 1309 at 12.
I think it's time to call it.
12, just make it a 34 at the show. 70.
I am going to. It looks like some of you are hungry and going to lunch, and I actually got to get back to work. So I was hoping to be able to speak with Streamlabs. They said that they were going to call or write. I haven't heard from them in an hour, so I'll let you know what happens with Streamlabs. You'll see it though once I'm able to go multi-platform. I'll start using Streamlabs exclusively, I think, at least for the next 30 days or so. That's how long I've got the service for. I didn't commit to the year. I just figured I'd do a month to test it out and see. But yeah, I'm gonna go. CJ, thank you for tuning in, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Jared, you as well. You're great. Mehmet, if you're still out there, thank you for tuning in all the way from Turkey, or bouncing your user ID off of a VPN in Turkey, whichever's the case. Thank you guys again. Remember to smash that like button, and subscribe and follow and share and do all the rest of the stuff that's great for the algorithms. And as always, see you soon.